Welcome to this practice of mindfulness. This session has been recorded live in Granada, Spain, during one of the yoga retreats organized by Samyama Fitness. So please prepare yourself to sit or to lie down for a mindfulness practice. And have your eyes downcast or closed, whatever works for you at this time. Take a few moments to find a position that suits your intention to give your wholehearted attention to this mindfulness practice. Let us begin by noticing how the body feels on the chair or ground. The feet are somewhere on the ground. Perhaps you can take your awareness to how they feel resting on the ground. Maybe you notice a part of your body is resting on another part, or some of your clothing is resting on the skin. Just spend a few moments noticing how it feels to sit where you are. Now, if your breath is a friendly place for you today, I would like you to inhale down into your body as far as you can and exhale for a little longer than the inhale. So, for example, if you inhale to a count of 4, perhaps exhale to a count of 6. If it feels comfortable for you, please engage the Ujjayi or ocean sounding breath on the exhale. Lengthening the exhale encourages relaxation in the body, and as oxygen stays inside the lungs for longer, you will be giving your body more time to take what it needs. If when you try to pay attention to the breath it doesn't feel good, then please transfer your awareness to how it feels to be resting in the chair or floor. And if it feels okay for you to stay with the breath, then please allow your whole attention to focus on how it feels to notice your breath. Where does it sit in your body? How does it feel to make the exhale longer than the inhale? And as your mind has already answered these questions and more, I invite you to assume the air of compassionate observer as you watch your reaction to this practice. If you have chosen to focus on how it feels to be resting on the floor or chair, please bring your mind back if it has wandered into thoughts, and re-notice again how it feels to be resting on the floor. So as we go on this mindful journey together, I would like you to return to either the breath and lengthening the exhale, or the body resting on the ground if experience becomes too uncomfortable for you. Remember, this is your practice and we are here to get to know ourselves. We will take our attention now to the sense of hearing. So allow your ears to become accustomed to all the sounds around us. Sound in the distance and sounds closer to you. Even the sounds of thoughts in your mind are sounds. Notice how your mind wants to make sense of these sounds and will naturally add names or labels to the phenomena. And if your mind has drifted, as it naturally will, please bring it back to listening. Perhaps sounds have a texture for you, and perhaps not. Certainly your mind will be producing thoughts to grab your attention. If you notice thoughts arising, please bring your attention back to sounds. And letting the sense of hearing rest now as we shift our focus back to the breath. This time perhaps you can observe the breath without trying to change it in any way. Again, I invite you to assume the air of compassionate observer as you notice your reaction to watching the breath without trying to change it. Remember, you can always come back to the body resting on the chair or ground, or regulating your experience through lengthening the exhale. If thoughts have arisen again as they naturally will, perhaps you can draw your attention back to the breath. Noticing how the lungs or chest inflates on the in-breath and deflates again on the out-breath. Perhaps you can even observe a slight sensation just under the nostril as the breath goes in, and perhaps not. Again, assuming the air of compassionate observer as you watch your reaction to this practice. Treating each breath like a new arrival and letting it go again when the time is right for you. We can allow the focus on breath to fade now and bring the attention back to the body. Perhaps by now you are beginning to feel like you have been sitting here for a while. You may even feel discomfort somewhere in the body. I wonder how it would be for you if you permitted your awareness to observe this discomfort without making any changes. I wonder if the sensation, if there is one at all, stays the same. Perhaps it changes. Perhaps it even feels more intense. I wonder how it would be for you to abide with this feeling moment by moment without trying to change it in any way. Assuming the air of compassionate observer, perhaps watching the desire to shift, move, open eyes, run, or stay. And I invite you to notice other sensations in the body that may arise as a response to any thoughts. And if in all this you have wandered into thinking, I invite you to notice and come back to the body or to the breath. Thinking is a natural process as we notice thoughts and bring our awareness back to present moment experience. We become aware of how much we think. With that in mind, let us allow our attention to observe the thinking process in more detail. I wonder if you can notice each thought as a single entity. Very often, thoughts run together into conversations or habitual patterns. Perhaps see if you can notice one thought arise, then see it pass through your mind to make way for the next one. Or does your mind have many thoughts at once? See if you can separate the thoughts and observe them rise and fall. Rising and falling. Your thoughts rising and falling. By now, you may have got involved in a thought and may even be lost in a stream of thoughts. If this has happened, gently bring yourself back to observing the very next rising thought. If your mind is producing things you feel are very important to think about, ask yourself if it has any relevance to this very moment. This moment where we are merely sitting and breathing, paying attention to rising and falling thoughts. And each time you get lost, encourage the mind to let go and come back to the air of compassionate observer. You may have already noticed feelings or emotions in the body, sensations that may arise with thoughts. I invite you now to hone your attention into these sensations. What do you notice? Do you have feelings of serenity or perhaps frustration, happiness, sadness, openness, irritation perhaps? Again, I invite you to pay close attention to the feeling you may be having and may be even notice some physical sensations are attached to these feelings. Perhaps you notice activity in your chest or abdomen, or perhaps nothing at all. How would it be for you if you simply observed sensations without trying to change them in any way? I wonder if they might change all by themselves. Spend a few more moments noticing your feelings, emotions, and body sensations. Wherever you are in your noticing, please draw your attention back down to the body resting on the ground. The body is resting on the ground. Imagine in any way that comes to you that you can put roots down into the ground, through your feet or buttocks, and dig down really deeply. And the next time you inhale, Imagine you can breathe up through these roots into your lungs and back down again. This mindful practice is reaching the end. Once last time, notice your reaction to these words: anticipation or longing to remain. Notice the effect in the body and the mind. Then allow yourself to come back into the space whenever it feels right for you. And this practice is now complete. This practice of mindfulness is now complete.